Right?
Back her up, mate. I thought it there.
Tails is the call, and tails it is.
So will it be for the last time Roo wins the toss over his great rival in Nathan Buckley? So the scene is set as we go down to Ricky Olorenshaw. Ricky, they brought all the emergencies to Crows, but before that, a late change for the Maggies.
Yeah, there is just a one late change. Bruce Shaw Rustling's out of the side. He couldn't overcome a caught thigh from last week. It's a big loss for Collingwood because he did kick 4 goals last week. He had his kicking boots on him, possibly couldn't kick 7 goals. Ben Reed's coming for him for his 3rd game of the year. He'll start on the ground and up forward. And as you said, with the Crows, they brought all 3 emergencies over. There was a couple of key players in doubt. They got through the warm-up, so they'll go in unchanged.
Good on you, Rick. As you'd expect, a wonderful atmosphere tonight. It's a virtual final. Adelaide looking at sudden death, realistically, as Mark Rashudo plays his 22nd game against the Magpies. Goldsack on the left there, walking down deep in defence. Wonderful game last week. There's Rashudo equalling Adelaide's games club record tonight, alongside another great. Well, you have to be to reach that total, Ben Hart. And by contrast, a youngster, you can count his games on one hand.
Talk about youngsters, Dennis, and big assignments. Marty Clark looks to have McLeod early in this game.
Umpires tonight, Vozo, Roseberry and Ryan, and we're underway. Hudson goes up, knocks it down. Richards tried to soccer it, picked it up, kicks it towards half forward. Massey missed it, taken by Medhurst, feeds it out. Well played. Pendlebury over the top, gave it to Davis. Cloak is through, kicks from 40. It's a wayward kick, going back. McLeod dropped the mark. Time to recover. Edwards in the back pocket, loops it over the top. Shirley's got it. Shirley looks upfield. Awkward kick for Riley. 38 possessions last week. Poor Pleasure did well. Van Berlo had a career high last week as well. McLeod follows up. Penetrating kick inside the forward 50. Rashudo battles O'Brien. Shaw got the hand pass out. Clement comes wide. This is Lockyer.
It's got Medhurst loose and he finds him. So a second early disposal for Medhurst.
The Magpies forwards and pushed too far up the ground. There was nothing for him to go to. Adelaide Crows had their numbers back inside 50, so they've held themselves up here.
And Timmy goes a long, long way back to their quarterback in some respects in Clement.
McLeod started well too. He's been averaging 28 touches the last 3 weeks, so he's been at plenty of the ball. 16 handballs receives, so he'll run and create for them.
So Goldsack back to O'Brien. And Clement again, just getting some space, and he likes to run off, and he does. Good looking kick. Oh, the mark missed there by Rocker. Taken by Aubrey. Back to Heath Shaw. Gets around Gill. Got a touch on it, did Riley. Back to Van Berlo, to Goodwin. Hard ball for Pleasure. He stood up really well, I felt, in the tackle. Now Tawney, McLeod, and Rashudo. So that was a good passage of play for the Crows. With the Magpies advancing, Rashudo's well-weighted kick to half forward. Wakeland was at the back, and Clement, who's getting a whole lot of footy, and so is Medhurst early.
Medhurst, the defensive side of the wing, thought about going back to the corridor, hugs the boundary now, finds Thomas. Collingwood have started well. Nice kick too, finds the leading player, that's Reed. It's played on now. Well, let's call it sneaky at best. Cloak's got it within range.
That was fortuitous. He was actually kicking to Rocker, who led out of the goal square.
Very wide. It'll take a good kick from here. The angle will open up for the left footer.
Still 3 metres, Nathan. It's in line with me.
18 goals from set shots this season. Steps to the 50. His 19th will have to wait. Out of bounds on the full. Still no score. Early going. Friday night football. All the lollies on the table. Here's Riley. He's a left half back. Edwards breaks hard. Takes the mark the defensive side of the wing. Kicks beyond the wing. That's a clever kick. Pulled it back for Massey. Drawn to Massey was Lockyer. Goodwin spears the pass in, taken by Rashudo to Bock. High ball down towards full forward. A lot of carry on it. Wakeland got a fist. Clark came charging in, comes across to Thompson. Thompson snaps and kicks the goal.
Gee, I thought Shirley was good in the contest there. He was able to make some room for Thompson in the end. So Adelaide with a goal against the tide, you would think. Collingwood have had a bit more of it early. Hudson trying to go forward. Edwards has been very effective to Thompson. It took a while. That's a clever kick to Van Berlo. He now has to search for it a bit, but he's got it at 60. McLeod, still with McLeod. He tucked it under his arm and then goes cleverly to the pocket. And Thompson again. So Adelaide doing well in the last couple of minutes here.
McLeod's had 5 touches already. I just don't think Collingwood can afford to allow him to run free like he is at the moment. Lined up in the wing and then pushed back to half-back where he's been playing on his own.
They kicked 3 goals against Brisbane and the Western Bulldogs, Thompson, this year. 5 goals, 4 from set shots so far this year. Not a bad-looking kick from the pocket across the face. Gill and Hudson had a tiny bit of it. So Adelaide get the first 2 scores, and they lead it by 7-0 at the Dome.
Nathan Van Berlo in career best form, so adept at giving the ball off and then providing a shepherd. A block on the outer side, release McLeod. Heath Shaw in the back pocket. Some indecision. Decides to go. He was well shepherded too. Got the kick away towards the wing. Waiting for the bounce was Pendlebury. Shirley, a couple of good gives now. Across to Edwards. Pops it back inside the forward 50. Griffin takes the mark. Well, Shirley instrumental in the goal kicked by Thompson. And that time again, giving it off, giving the shepherd. They seem tuned in.
Heathshaw tried to do the right thing. You could see Pendlebury out on the wing on his own, but he just didn't have enough drive in his kick to get the ball there on the full.
Jonathan Griffin. Back in the side tonight. He'll take a good kick. Right on the 50. That's not a good kick. He tugs it way left. Maxwell, unsure of what was around him, could have marked. Took no chances.
It's been a big talking point in Adelaide this week. Adelaide set shots for goals. They've been wayward lately. Well, both Thompson and Griffin, then probably 50-50 at best, I guess, from those positions. Now Shaw in a bit of trouble, and now Goldsack got the right bounce. Lockyer, so Collingwood a bit jittery here after a confident enough start. Wakeland gets around Portpleasure, doesn't quite get all the way though. Thomas ran hard for him, and then John Cock.
See, their pressure on the way out's been good, hasn't it, Adelaide? That's a great sign for them early in this game.
So McLeod, as Tim talked about, just wandering across half-back and setting so much up as he's done throughout this year. Aubrey has to get it out now. Well done by Pendlebury. Shirley, Edwards, gee, he's had a lot of it too. Shaw quick off the mark and takes the mark. It's got O'Brien very short if he wants him.
Again, Shirley's hands very good. Shaw, Goldsack, and that rising star.
Shirley's gone to Lockyer too. He's their #1 tagging player, Shirley.
Shaw, back to Goldsack. Eventually, Thompson fatigued as Goldsack goes down towards half forward. Look at the leaps there. Wow, Davis from one side, Tawney from the other. They bring it away, McLeod, Hudson, Goodwin. Now John Cock. Inside the centre square, goes out wide. Gill coming off his best game. He's about 80 metres from goal. What'll he do? If you don't mind, finesse. That's his middle name. Rashudo on the lead. Plenty of support for Adelaide in the Dome tonight. Lockyer gets a crumb, sends it back towards the outer side. Here's trouble for the Crows. The champ's got it. Buckley stays off John Cock and threads the pass. Off a step, finds Reid.
So Reid to half-forward, not such a good kick that one. Tawney back to McLeod again. So a 7th disposal of McLeod, another good one to Bock. Now Bock's got Thompson, not such a good kick that one. Goldsack able to get in front, and then unfortunately for him, because he did everything right, didn't he?
He did the right thing on the one-on-one contest, and there was another Crows player, Welsh, who just come off the ground too. Here's the big leap by Tawney, getting right over the top of Massey. couldn't quite stick the landing.
He's had a great year, Tony. In the last 3 seasons, he played 30 out of 71 games, seemingly at the end of his career, and he's played all 22 this year. And speaking of him, he bangs it forward. Rashudo looking for a free. Poplesia, no free. Boundary throw in.
The game's been played on Adelaide's terms at the moment. They're getting their numbers back across half-back, and then they're counter-attacking. That's how they like to play. And they're actually finding a bit of space when they go forward, too.
Umpire Vozzo, a Friday night specialist, one of the best in the business. Hudson pulls it down behind. Lockyer, having a wonderful season, comes out to Medhurst, who started this game in stellar form, goes across the ground, going back, well taken, Pendlebury. Now Swan.
That's better.
And Rocker.
That was a brave, bold kick then by Medhurst, but it opened the game right up for the Magpies to actually attack in a square position. If they can get the ball into their corridor, they can open up all sorts of options going forward.
Martin Clark has limped off the ground. The man charged with looking after McLeod initially, as Rocker kicks from about 52 and tugs it way left. Out of bounds on the floor.
2 shots at goal, 2 poor results so far from their key forwards, Cloak and Rocker.
And they can have those sorts of nights, Tim, can't they? They are a little bit that way.
They're wasteful, yeah.
Both highly talented, one who's played so much good footy over the years and one who's promising so much in Cloak. Here's Knights, who started interchange. He was the late withdrawal last week with the back problem. Reshaw has just come on. Stevens had to play the defensive role, but gave it to Burns. Pendlebury important. Back to Clement. Speaking of importance, Reshaw, who started interchange. He's the man in tonight for Didac. Didac's season just hitting a crashing halt, hasn't it? After his problems earlier. And now injured. So Shaw goes back to Goldsack. We've seen Collingwood do this quite a bit early in this match to O'Brien. Now O'Brien can go very wide to Wakelin. Edwards closes now. So Collingwood have basically gone from one wing to the other.
They're going to force them really wide, Adelaide.
Here's a contest, and John Cock was terrific. To Edwards, to Gill. Now there's nowhere really to go. This is an important ball. Rashudo couldn't win it. Buckley's got it. It wasn't a particularly good kick to the Roo. And then Buckley goes bang, Cloak the target. Bock was at the back. G did well. And then John Cock to Bock. I think McLeod was waiting for it, and Bock now backtracks.
Still going, Bock. Hudson controls it okay. I'll tell you, the hand pass, Shirley under pressure. Very high ball, goes down towards half forward. Gill outmaneuvered by Clement.
He's back in form, Clement.
That was a great effort. To Buckley. Cleaning up across half back. Not his best kick, hangs a long time in the air. Pendlebury, almost. Knights clicks it out to accommodate Tawney. A throw, says the umpire. And the umpire in perfect position to spot it. Ryan on the ground, short. We talked about his role tonight. Swan, Rocker, juggled attempt, couldn't hang on. Rutten, clever. Got it back to McLeod. Great evasion. Riley looks back towards the middle. Gill. Very athletic Gill. Welsh wants it long. And now we've got a free kick downfield against Rashudo, is it? No, it's going against O'Brien.
He ran straight through. No. There you go.
I'm not afraid to give Harry O'Brien a big assignment, are they? Last week he actually tagged Adam Goods in the midfield. This week he's coming up against Mark Rashudo, and he's been played out of the goal square as the full-back.
So bad news there for the Brazilian from Claremont. And if memory serves me correctly, Portuguese is the language of Brazil. What happens if Rick does an interview in Portuguese? Does that count? Rashudo kicks and puts it through. Goal.
On Marty Clark, who brought himself off the ground a few minutes ago, got a problem with his right knee. He's had it assessed by the physiotherapist, but he's still hobbling around the boundary, and he was actually picking up Brent Riley, so you have to need to find a match up for him.
Thanks, Rick. I noticed the Birdman on for the Crows. Burton started interchange. Burns did very well out of the centre to Swan, to Lockyer. They've straightened this up very well, Collingwood. And then Lockyer goes in board. Pendlebury's a good finisher. They needed it.
8 points. There's the Prez up there with the chairman. And he'll be joining us. That's the Prez at half-time on Friday Night Football. Not a good bounce back in the middle. Griffin directs it down. Finishes up with Thompson, who got the opening goal. McLeod, Stevens towards half-forward. Well done, Maxwell got a fist on it. Lockyer gets the crumb. Van Berlo got him. Maxwell comes back again. His hand pass not that effective. Slapped across the line by Riley, and a boundary throw in.
Collingwood are trying to set up Leon Davis now to oppose McLeod. McLeod had 9 touches already, doing a lot of damage across half-back.
Pendlebury quickly back on the field. Buckley off. Reshaw run down by Portlesia.
On the ball, no handball. Play on.
To Thompson. To Van Berlo. Uses the umpire as a shield and then kicks it poorly, but he may find Burton. Oh, he's a wonderful mark, isn't he?
Yep.
No, that's where you were meter around. That's it, perfect.
There's a real concentration tonight to Adelaide of moving the ball on quickly, particularly around the middle of the ground. They're trying to get it inside their attacking 50 as quickly as they can to isolate those one-on-one contests. Just in the best position there, Burton. There was very little that Clement could do about that.
This could be a telling kick, Tim, because Burton's 13-13 from set shots this year, but in his last 12 shots for goal, he's only kicked 3. He has been missing. Remember the one at Geelong late in the match? Last week a couple. Needs a good start, brings it back and scores.
He was a Collingwood supporter. His footy hero was Peter Dacos. 3-2 to a goal. 7 minutes out from quarter time. A bit over. Burns feeds it back. Swan virtually straight up in the air. With the umpire. Cloak got a fist on it. McLeod again. Clever. Into the path of Massey. Perhaps he should have taken it. Falling to the ground. Goodwin. Thompson's been busy. Down towards the pocket. Juggling the mark is Gill. Stand by. This is where it gets exciting. Nick Gill, not always the straightest kick in the competition.
Once again, really quick movement of the ball. Getting the ball is not Nick Gill's problem.
What is?
Kicking.
Son of a gun.
Kicking is his problem.
Well, he got him in his first match against the Bombers, remember, here?
He'll spend a lot of time working on that over the summer months. I think they've been really pleased with what he's been able to do. Averaging 14 possessions as a forward, he moves up the ground, he presents himself. That's the part of his game that he has to improve.
He took 4 marks inside the 50 against Brisbane last week. He got 1 early tonight, but he missed the chance. Wakeland's kick, dangerous, very dangerous. Burton goes to the left foot, took his time, measured it, and goals. I think it is a goal.
Mark it over. All clear.
Of Peter Dacos, well, he really concentrated on that ball, held it and held it. Man almost got to the boot, clearly across the line. It was wonderful by Brett Burton. So well thought through. Back in the middle. Again, they win the clearance. Shirley got it from Knight, still going, albeit backwards. Now John Cock can go forwards. Edwards runs beyond the wing. Gill wants it long. Kick in short. Portlesia missed it. Gill's opponent Maxwell got it to Swan. Now it comes to Medhurst, who started so well. He's at right half back. Collingwood really forward in the last 5 minutes. Not a bad kick though. Found Thomas between 2 crows to Pendlebury. Searching kick. Always Rockers. Well, he dropped the mark. Goes after it. Outnumbered Stevens. Rocker doing pretty well to tie it up. Now that is interesting. Greco-Roman, down they go. Reid and Stevens.
Here's the contest. Rocker trying to shut. No, he dropped the ball there.
Yeah.
3-on-1 though, once the ball hit the ground.
Did well, all but. Goodwin, Rutten, John Cock is getting busy too. Shirley, wonderful concentration. Robert Shirley's away. Kicks towards half forward. O'Brien in front. Needs to quell Burton close to the boundary line. Van Berlo goes down. and the ball was across the line.
They're getting smashed at the stoppages at the moment, Collingwood. Absolutely smashed by the Adelaide Crows, and that's where they love to get the advantage.
So the Crows with 4 of the 5 goals in this term.
On ball, then straight away.
And that defensive work with John Cock and McLeod feeding off the Ruttons and Stevens, it's working well.
Yeah, they're able to slide their players up the ground to outnumber Collingwood. They've got to hit their targets when they go forward.
Edwards has had a busy term. He missed that. Goldsack did well. McLeod, oh, well done, Thomas.
Held on to him.
So the advantage, and Massey gets it from Shirley, and then Massey kicks to centre half forward. Mattner on the ground. Just got a fingertip. Burton crash. Well done, Goldsack. Terrific stuff to Clement, to Wakeland. Again under pressure. Pendlebury, what a quarter he's playing. 7th disposal, but he's been involved in a number of their setups.
And they're really slowing Collingwood when they've got control of the ball. Collingwood have been terrific over the last 3 weeks in running and carrying the ball, but we just haven't seen that same fluency in the ball movement from them tonight.
So Lockyer down the line to Burns. Both teams are patient. They've proven that over the stretch. Swan, now the good switch on here. To Clement. Thomas and Massey. Thomas normally quick to recover. Burton gets in. Maxwell pushing towards the line. Massey chasing hard. Maxwell shrugs him off. Gets to Thomas. Look away handball to Reshaw.
Reshaw, half-distance kick. Pendlebury, moments ago, had it across half-back. Forced to retreat. Medhurst comes up, takes the mark inside the centre square.
How many times have they already been forced backwards, Collingwood?
There's Swan inside the forward 50. And coming up the ground will have to work. That's Reid. Got it on the bounce. Back to Burns. They've got him in the triangulation of fire. He played it well. O'Brien to Swan. Not so good. Edwards in the road. Knights is away. Griffin, can he mark it? No, O'Brien knocked it from him. Swan. Now outside the 50, Bryan, who's a long kick, can go across the ground. Pendlebury will take this mark only about 35 metres out. It will be a question of accuracy.
That was a really smart kick then too. Just summed up the situation, saw the space out wide. Adelaide just blocking the corridor inside the attacking 50 for Collingwood, forcing them wide, forcing them backwards. They're just going to have a bit of poise and a bit of patience.
Just the 1 goal this season. In he comes. And he's put it through. In fact, he's got one tonight. That's his 2nd.
5th time this season he's kicked 2 in a match. Hudson and Bryan. Hudson, a fingertip to it. Clearances are going to become so important. O'Brien got it from Bryan, who did well. McLeod, clever, well done. He must have felt Thomas. And then Thompson to Bock. And then Bock's kick to Riley is a beauty at centre wing. Riley quickly on, spearing past to Rashido and O'Brien. Good contest. Gee, McLeod got down there quickly.
He starts at half-back, but he really plays like a midfielder, McLeod. Just felt the presence of Thomas there. Just tapped the ball intelligently across to his teammate.
Hudson's tap was a beauty to Thompson. And then Goldsack against the flow. He did a good job there. He refused to give it up early. And then O'Brien just shrugs a couple off and away he goes.
Well played. The kick now falls in short. John Cock in front of Pendlebury. This is Shirley. Now Thompson, hard against the boundary line. Pulls it back towards the middle. Porplecia. Burton and Clement went to ground. Porplecia left standing. And he'll shoot at goal from 35 metres out.
If you go all the way back to Harry O'Brien, then he's going to be a player, Harry O'Brien, but he still gets lost out there in the field sometimes. He actually had to keep running and carrying that ball. He had 2 players alongside him. Between the 3 of them, they would have been able to carry the ball over the centre of the ground.
Half a metre still, Heath.
This will be handy. Margin at 15. Make that 21.
Turn, and the other key forward, Welsh, onto the ground now at centre half forward. So good signs early for the Crows. Collingwood's been a come from behind team all season though. Riley improvising. Hudson Davis. First real possession to half forward. Good contest, Pendlebury. And also Johncock. Lockyer, well, he just tried to draw Edwards and he couldn't quite. It was a look away situation, but Edwards wasn't falling for it. He's had a super opening term, Edwards. Well, Hudson should have kicked it, marked it, I should say, and gets the free kick. Advantage given to Riley, who pokes it to Rasciuto.
Hands in the back.
In the back.
Hands in the back. Hands in the back. Mike Rasciuto, yeah, go through, mate. Yes, mate, straight back.
Well, we thought Rasciuto was finished a month ago. He's made a real contribution. There's Burton. He's made a real contribution tonight. He was rusty last week.
There's the hands in the back. And clearly a free kick here. And that just crunched Burton's neck then. Clement just coming back on Burton.
Thanks, Harry. Thanks, Harry.
Trainer just having a look at it. He should be okay.
Thank you.
Their defensive pressure so far tonight, Adelaide, has been excellent.
Well, this has been Rouge's trademark, isn't it? His ability to kick these goals. Long way out, set shot. Does he bring it back? Not this one. That would have topped off a big term, but it's been a pretty good one, I reckon. If you're an Adelaide fan, at quarter time, it's the Crows 33, the Magpies 12. This is Friday Night Football.
Goes in, Portleish's got him. That's out of bounds on the fall. He had it a long time to boot, which he did. Portleisha spears a pass in. Edwards fell over. O'Brien at the back loops the hand pass to Clement. Gets in time to Thomas. He's at right half back. Nothing much on. Has to stop.
Thomas is McLeod's man at the moment. Pushed up high, trying to drag McLeod up the ground, out from half back.
So it goes back to Heath-Shaw, back in the defensive 50. And Heath-Shaw out wide into Travis Cloak. Cloak and Shaw. Those names resonate, don't they, in AFL footy over a long stretch?
They just can't get their game going at the moment, Collingwood. They've been forced to play a game that they don't really want to play.
And this is part of it, isn't it, Tim? Just there, with O'Brien having to cough it up under pressure. Tawney also under pressure. McLeod, he was good enough to get away far too easily in the end. Davis now in pursuit. McLeod's kick brings it back to half forward. Well done there by Maxwell and also Bock.
They've been averaging about 75. There's Burton getting some treatment for his neck. They've been averaging about 75 possessions a quarter, Collingwood. They had 93. A lot of those were ineffectual possessions in the first quarter. 9 clangers to Adelaide's 1.
Thomas did really well there against Riley. He was able to get a toe poke to Lockyer and then Lockyer to Reid, but Stevens, clever, deft little hip and shoulder, getting rid of his man and opening it up to Johncock.
Growing in stature as Stevens. Johncock finds Gill. Crows looking good. This is Riley down towards half forward. Knocked away by Clement. Thompson leads in the race though. Short one is on. Thought about going down to Welsh, then gave it to Portleisha instead. Edwards, not a good attempt. Cleared the man it was intended for, Van Berlo, but it ran on to Riley to Portleisha. Long to full forward. Gill was up. Bryan's got it. Now Pendlebury and Collingwood bring it away again to the outer side. Shaw. Now Medhurst is running. Thompson off is short. That's ignored. Buckley inside the centre square. Can go back to the wing. Does. They've cleared space for this man Shaw. Heavily bandaged. Goes inside the forward 50. And locked in brilliantly. He became the first man in the queue. He was queue jumping. Started in third posse.
That was a really smart kick there by Heath-Shaw. He actually drew Lockyer to the ball. He just put it to the target. And this bloke's been in terrific form this season for the Magpies.
Runner-up in the best and fairest in 2000. And you figure he should be right up there again this season. From just inside the 50, important kick. He misses to the right-hand side, their first blemish.
But not their first miss.
Not tonight. And it's going to hurt them if it continues this way. Already we've seen their key forwards miss the target tonight.
So the 1-2 back to Johncock, to Stevens. It's been a revelation over the last couple of seasons, hasn't he? It's kicked to Gould. Well done, Brian. Back with Gill. Arches his back. Good tackle coming on. And then O'Brien able to ride the tackle, but not quite able to get it clear. Massey inboard. Van Berlo. Tawney. They did well, the Crows, as he kept it in just to the pocket. Well done, Thompson. Campbell not great. Gill set a task. Brought down by Maxwell, and there'll be a ball up.
No try.
And a Crow in trouble here. I think it's Tawney just having a limp here at centre wing, running back. You can see him, he's just trying to shrug it off. So Crow's inside 50.
Maxwell up very high, pumped it out of there. Unkind bounce for Buckley. Kick smothered off the boot of Riley. Now Buckley's got it again. They're under pressure. Davis comes through. Eventually they work it out. O'Brien involved earlier. This is Lockyer once more. Moments ago, missed a very important shot. Keen to make amends. Runs from half back. Reed on the lead. Advantage will be paid. Will it? Yes. Clark's kick has missed to the right-hand side. And the umpire, I think, was willing that one through as well.
He's going to be a smart player, Reed. He's a good lead. He pushes hard to the ball. Here's the injury to Tawney. Looks like his knee might have just got crunched there as he went to ground. Heavy tackle there by O'Brien.
So John Cock wide to Goodwin. Riley a target. It was always on for Shaw at the back, and with Buckley they did well here, Collingwood. They're enjoying a good patch, and so's Lockyer. Lockyer goes to full forward. Medhurst. Bock, bigger man in the front, and gets the free. So disappointing result for Collingwood there.
Game just opening up a little bit in the midfield for the Magpies, though. Their run and carry a bit more evident in the early part of this second term.
Stevens felt like he was running out of ideas there, but he found Van Berlo. Goodwin, and that kick again a bit too high, and I'm not sure what Gill was trying to do. So the Crows getting it inside 50 a lot in this term, but nothing much happening for them. And the Magpies on the counter again, and their champ's got it.
Yes, in good hands. Buckley down towards half forward. Beautiful execution. Medhurst to Richards. He's 55 metres out. Well, finesse from the big guy. Goes to Rocker. He's tackled as he kicked, but affected the kick, and Stevens, the beneficiary of the direction of the kick, is taken high. Suddenly found himself in front position. Here's Edwards, a bit of a stumble. That's wonderful balance to Bock. Bock off his step, not his best effort. Buckley comes to it, thought about going, and did not.
He's getting in the game now, Nathan Buckley. Well, this will be his 8th disposal.
The game quite predictable at the moment, and that suits him. Just hanging back a little, kick behind the play. Richards has got it. And this could take his best effort. Wants to give it off, goes to Buckley. Buckley under pressure, gets onto it, but hangs it to the right. Another behind. They're enjoying a good spell, but they can't put it on the scoreboard.
Tim, interesting, both Rashudo and Burton sitting it out early days in this second quarter, and Adelaide having big problems when they get to their 50. Collingwood getting a lot of it, as Dennis says, but not much happening on the board. They've got it back to 18 points. Last time we saw the Crows here on a Friday night, they led the Saints by a similar margin at quarter time. 50 metres.
Gee, they knew that helped too, Adelaide. They had them pinned down there.
You knew where it was. You're in 5 metres straight over it.
And Van Berlo cheekily helps Davis on his way. So can Adelaide construct something here? As Tim said, you felt they needed a bit of a helping hand to get it out of their defensive 50 for the moment. Bock wide, McLeod short. So again, that careful, slow build-up.
He could take Richards on here.
Play on. Ball left the mark.
So Riley, nothing much gained. Does he go back or does he take a chance here? John Cox waiting. It was a bad option to Richards, to Swan, to Medhurst, and that's a brilliant kick. That opens up the field, and then Shaw will go wide to Thomas. He's got Rocker short, and he's going to find him.
That was a fantastic kick by Medhurst to Shaw. And really smart by Shaw too to go out wide then to Thomas. He kept his head. Rocker moved into that space. That's probably been the most positive move so far tonight off half-back for the Magpies.
And Adelaide just too careful, I think, at the moment going forward. Slow motion. Now, important this. Rocker missed his first completely. Cloak's missed one. We know Lockyer's missed one. That's a good kick.
That's better.
The opening goal tonight. They started so well, the Crows. Goodwin pulls it back towards centre half forward. Big pack, a drop. Oh, and Welsh did remarkably well.
That's a great, strong contested mark, that by Welsh.
Scott, Mark's here.
Their #1 forward this year, Welsh. Watch this again. Great approach to the ball. Maxwell hit the arm, but just couldn't dislodge the ball.
Why not put it in long? Moments ago, Brett Riley was like Paris Hilton searching for a bird. Groping and groping. Welsh right on the 50. Hangs it out to the right. Not a good effort. Both sides blighted with an accuracy not only tonight, but you've got to say for the best part of the season. Clement, beautiful kick. Highly accurate to another man who uses the ball wonderfully well. This is Nathan Buckley. Just behind the left half-back in front of this virtual sellout crowd.
To Clark.
That's his 7th disposal this quarter, Nathan Buckley.
And then Clark to Goldsack. So the two rookies combining there, the two rookies playing. And the use of rookies has been a big part of Collingwood's season this year. Clark running onto it, told to play on. He's such a mature player, considering his background from Ireland. And then Goldsack out wide to Wakeland. Collingwood looking promising here to Swan. Getting a lot of the footy. Now the Pies and Swan then. Not such a good kick. But the free kick, I think, against Gill. To Shaw. He was just a bit clumsy there, Gill, wasn't he?
And the roar is because the free kick count at the moment is 9-2 against the Magpies.
Thought there was a mighty roar that just went up a moment ago. Richards, Knights, and also Swan. Swan doing well. Then Knights, and he's dropped to Swan. That should have been a free kick.
Kicking in danger. His hand was on the ball. You kick the footy, it's dangerous.
You know what? I reckon that's the first kicking in danger I have seen in the matches we've been at all season.
Well, I think it was right, but as you said, Bruce, there was a kick before that. Off hands, Goldsack, Buckley. Back to his best in this term. Shaw, Swan, his 12th possession. Now a chance for Davis. Paddling it down towards half forward. Look at the Crows around him.
I'll have it. Thanks,
Players virtually stopping there. Sometimes they do, just waiting for the whistle. Here's the bounce. Umpire Ryan working overtime. Thomas, one of 3 Magpies up. Knights, as you'd expect. Adelaide with the numbers on the ground, gave it to Edwards, but not a good kick. Wakeland on his chest, right at the wing. And Collingwood now enjoying their best patch of the game. Pulls it back and across. They've got the numbers 2-on-1. Clement steps for a shootout. Not much to go to. And that's a victory, really, for the Crows as they get things back to square one. Wakeland's got it again. Got it from Swan.
Back up, Gilly, back a metre. Thank you. Move it on. Play on.
So then Wakeland goes back again to where it came from. And then Swan to Clement. And then Clement with that lovely leg of his to Maxwell. Reshaw run. So they've done okay here. It's taken a while to get about 50 metres closer to goal over the other wing.
This is the difficult kick, though. They can't find any space inside their attacking 50. Adelaide have flooded back in numbers, guarding the dangerous part of the ground, which is the corridor.
So Reshaw just has to pop it up to a hot spot. Burns gets to the front spot. Well done by Riley. Thompson to Knights. Important kick, this one. Knights finds Gill.
He worked hard there. Ran all the way up the ground from half forward, Gill.
And this is where Adelaide has struggled, I reckon, in this term, maintaining possession and getting some mileage with it.
And no swiftness with the moving of the ball. Collingwood are actually able to lock them down now.
There's Bock. Got it from Rutten. The short one comes out to Stevens. He releases the pressure, or does he? Touched off the boot there by Reid. Charging through is Clark. That was ambitious. Should have gone, actually. He took on a couple. Shaw played it brilliantly. Flicks it back to Davis. Well smothered by John Cock. Takes a deflection. Knocked across the line by Van Burlo. Well, Clark had beaten one man by that stage and took on the second, but the umpire decided to let it go. Riley had it knocked away. O'Brien just outside the 50. Riley comes again, and with the help of Knights, ties up the Magpie.
Just the 5 touches tonight for O'Brien. Their midfielders don't get a lot of the ball.
Arms up, arms up.
So Griffin won it. Clark getting a fair bit of it in this quarter. Knights wraps him up.
In the last 3 weeks, Swan's been their best disposal type player for the Magpies, and he's only averaging 20 touches.
Play on.
Did Thompson take it out? And he just sort of handed it to Griffin, who then hacks it forward. Clement and Rashudo. Burton, well done by Goldsack. And then back to Lockyer. Geez, elusive, isn't he, Lockyer? And then constructed to Reece Shaw. Well done. Saw Welsh coming and then goes wide with a beautiful looking kick to Reid, who dropped the mark. Goodwin, McLeod, something might happen now. Burton's the go. Quickly on, Paul Pleasure misses. Why quickly on?
Why? You wonder about the wisdom of that. A magnificent setup by McLeod off half-back.
He butchered it to the Birdman.
Let's check that heart rate.
We're better now, although it's probably down again as a result of that missed kick. Welsh has got it. I think we may see that reaction a little later, measured on the heart rate monitor. If you need a point of reference on that heart rate monitor, my son tells me Jessica Alba, when she's not invisible, is a 125. There's Welsh. Kicks from 40 and kicks well.
They're the clangers. Collingwood with a whole heap more than Crows. What a crowd here. As Adelaide get it back to 20. G. McLeod was magnificent a moment ago. Just his vision, his ability to carry the ball.
The depth of that kick too.
Griffin doing very well in the ruck. Burns is so good in the clearances. Gets inside the 50. Box having a match. Back to McLeod. Back to Rutten. He just had to search for it. Now Knights, who's on the right side for him as a left footer. Massey, oh well done. It was an instinctive give to McLeod with a bounce, and then again a long one. Burton again the target. Porplesia gets rid of his man.
Push out. Goldsack. Dyson. Forward within 5. Well.
Heard the umpire, ball not within 5. Free kick to Collingwood.
Wakelin got it from Goldsack, and now Shaw wanted 50, not forthcoming. He's across half-back. Margin back out to 20. It was 21 at quarter time. Shaw retreats then to Wakelin.
Oh, there, Jason.
Lockyer runs hard inside the defensive 50, eventually offering a lead on the other side.
Oh, there, Scott. Yours.
It's taken by Shaw. His kick, short of the mark. Swan gets into his move. McLeod got him.
What? There, Andrew, left it right there. Let him go to the tackle.
Gee, that's an interesting call. I thought he had the footy. There's Shaw, Reece Shaw, well done. Spins out of trouble, triple Lutz. Down towards half forward. Missed by John Cock. Kept it going though. Gill took a while. Could have been Collingwood's ball. Burns has it and spots a man loose. That's Reid.
Good pressure and a smart kick to Reid.
Got back a metre. There, thanks, mate. Red, missed the mark, that's your angle.
As John Cock missed that ball there, a heavy knock there by Cloak too. Reid's smart. I mean, he can get off his man. This is the area of his game too that he really needs to concentrate on over the summer months. It's going to be a good kid, this one.
Ben Reid then kicks. That's better. He's a standing start man.
And for Sean Rusling tonight, that was the one change that Collingwood Getting back to 14 points.
He may need to play a big role too if Cloak's well held tonight, and also Rock, who hasn't had a lot to do already.
Brian went early. Reece Shaw.
I mean, Rutten's a very good defender. You wouldn't think that Rocker is going to have a night out on a key defender like him. Cloak's been locked down too by Bock, who's playing him well. So it may be that the kid has to shake himself free.
Gee, Brian did well there to O'Brien. And back to Swan, and a gang tackle. Griffin and Mattner amongst them. And Tawney.
At the other end of the ground now, Clement's gone to Rashuto, and Harry O'Brien's picking up Burton.
Collingwood with that terrific record from coming from behind in matches this season.
Holding, Bryant.
So Chris Bryant's free kick.
Holding.
Uses the run of Davis, and then Davis quickly to Medhurst. Massey did well. He worked to the front.
Hands in the back, mate. Hands in the back. Hands in the back.
Yeah, Medhurst.
No. Push him out, mate. Perfect view there.
Correct decision. Watch this again. He's saying it was in the side. Umpire's saying it was in the back.
We're on, Chris.
Well, Massey won it, I guess, by that quick movement, able to whip around Medhurst, who looked in the box seat. McLeod.
Right there. Hold it there.
So a 16th disposal for McLeod. Just the perfect kick to Rutten. Gee, what an interesting 3 minutes coming up here. A goal either way in a low-scoring match. Oh, gee, McLeod. Not sure what he was thinking there. Perhaps we'll let that one go through. Reid to Clark. Good tackle. Does he get a foot to it? Yes. Not quite. Goal. O'Brien.
Yeah, hi. Club?
What's this again?
Isn't that holding the ball?
I would have thought so. How did the ball come out? You might argue he was setting it up for a place kick. You might.
Holding, Edwards. Tyson Edwards.
Beside the pack. The non-officiating umpire coming in from outside the square. And a free kick goes to Tyson Edwards.
Don't lock him up.
So Collingwood surging back. Edwards inside the forward 50. Wakeland got a fist on it. Leading in the race for a shootout. Clement did well, took him down, goes after the football, dragged off it, didn't have it. He'll get the free.
He's back in form, Clement. He played that beautifully then. Just watch this again. Just went in low, got the ball, dispossessed Rashuto, and then drew the free kick himself.
And when guys do something on the footy field, you've always got to consider the quality of the opposition. Here's Clement. Pops it in short. This guy's going to be a player too. Clark. Across the ground. What a beautiful kick. Maxwell can run from half-back. Looks down towards half-forward. Buckley, the next link in the chain, went behind him though. Van Berlo couldn't stop the ball. Going back is Cloak. Run down. Spills towards the boundary. Out of bounds. Throw in. Bock looks anxiously back at the umpire. No free kick for Cloak.
He's doing a good job on Cloak though, Bob. A really good job.
Well, he manhandled him a bit, didn't he? And then Buckley was searching for an in the back. Hudson going with Richards. Tawney.
Just let it go.
So that free kick count starting to even up a little bit.
At one arm free, got to make an attempt. Clear it out. Clear it out.
So Burns, Collingwood making a real dash here. Closing the gap by the minute. A mismark by John Cock. A ducked head by McLeod. And Collingwood are coming. Burns, goal. They're within 2 points.
A special Father's Day gift live.
Making the most of their chances. 3 goals from their last inside 50s 3 times.
Gee, they're a good side at working their way back into a contest too, aren't they?
39-41. Goodwin knocks it back to Richards. They could lead at half-time. Taken by Shaw under pressure. Scrambles a kick inside the forward 50. Awkward bounce. John Cock, surrounded by teammates, has got this ball about 25 metres out from the defensive goal. Rutten over the top to Shirley. Down to 20 seconds. Here's Knights.
So Knights at half-back. Dangerous kick into the centre. Van Bello went to ground. Buckley got it from Cloak. Got it to Pendlebury. Now he's a clever footballer, Pendlebury. He sizes it up. Took a long time. Lock you off one step. Important mark coming up. Massey did well in the contest. Going for the double chance, and at half-time, Adelaide just in front here after Collingwood came back hard. You love your AFL? Well, bigbondsport.com, the place to go. So Collingwood bonding there. Let's go down to Ricky. Dane Swan, tell us about him.
Well, you can never question Gill's attack on the ball. Just watch this again. Just a great collision. Two players with their eyes firmly fixed on the ball. There's Gill. There's Clement, who really led with his chin on that occasion. Then great recovery again by Gill to get back onto the contest. Here we go. There's the first contest. Keeps his eye on the ball. Pushes hard to the advantage side of the contest and finishes it off. But that's a wonderful start for the Crows in this second half.
What a combative goal. And Tim, they've loaded their best forwards up here, Adelaide. They've got Welsh, Rashudo, Burton and Gill all in the forward 50.
Thompson at ground level and Portlesia too,
That's
who's
their
in
best
between.
Six. That's the first time they've had their best six at the start of any of the quarters. Van Berlo had it ripped away. So Adelaide get back to a kick and a bit. Edwards, Van Berlo, Burton, Shirley. Rashudo caught underneath it. Welsh clever. Now can Rashudo find it? Portlesia does. Bad handball. Clement worked it well. As Dennis said, Clement got very, very important as that half went on. Now Heath Shaw.
He's good this boy at pushing hard to the contest. They've decided to rest Cloak at the start of this third quarter.
So Shaw to Medhurst. Medhurst, who started so brightly. In fact, one of his switches of play and kicks in the second quarter was, I think, just about the highlight of the opening half.
O'Brien's gone forward too, so they're going with a really tall forward line, particularly out of the goal square. They've got Rocker alongside O'Brien.
Boundary throw in. Richards works in front, knocks it down. Davis. Here's trouble for the Crows. Runs inside the 50 and misses. Margin 7 points.
Perhaps could have steadied a bit more than Davis.
Can make the mundane look rather difficult. And the opposite is true. Here's Stevens. Got it from John Cock, who got it from Brian and continues to get it. Down he goes. Meantime, Stevens finds Rutten at left half back. Goodwin. Those two are still going at it back near the goal square. John Cock needs to be careful now. Brian's on the ground. Meantime, opportunity for Wakelin after some good work from Lockyer. Pendlebury over the shoulder to no one in particular. Shirley, a little 1-2 with Thompson. That's a clever kick, or was it? Too much carry. They've still got the numbers. It was intended for Massey. Backing up there was McLeod. Van Berlo, little too slick for Tawney. He was pushed in the back.
You had him cold then too, Buckley.
He did. Tawney, Van Berlo pulls the kick. As a result, it was low and flat inside the forward line. Maxwell came up to assist Shaw. Across to Richards. But straight to Mercy. It's coming back. Fox got it now. Man out wide is John Cock. John Cock just forward of the wing. Rashudo runs to space. Thought about going, decides not to.
He sure did a really interesting thing then. When he saw Rashudo go outside the 50, he decided not to chase him.
So Rashudo's kick, Thompson, hands and knees, couldn't quite. Shirley back to McLeod. McLeod concedes to Bock. So Adelaide again with this careful, slow build-up. Bock inside the 50, Burton.
You have to go with that bloke in the air.
2 metres, Heath, it's right with me.
They've always got a chance if they kick it high, because Burton and Gill are two of the best contested marks in the business.
There's Brian and John Cock just having a little bit of an altercation there. But you can't allow Burton to run and jump at the ball like that. You may want to play as a sweeping defender. You may want to drift off, but that bloke there will go hard and high to the ball.
Kicked 2 goals in the opening term, and that one's coming back. He's kicked 3.
As Bruce said, high, long, indiscriminate, if you like, because they've got players who can really take a run of it, break packs, and get it on the ground. So He's rolling the dice now. As Neil Craig, as Goodwin gets it across to Shirley after the good work from Hudson. Porplesia, not a mark, in trouble, coughed it up again. It was a poor hand pass. His second of the term. Wakeland got it from Heath Shaw, comes out wide, stretching as Richards, draws Thompson to him, goes to Lockyer, hugs the boundary line with a kick over the head of Thomas, who's been pretty quiet tonight. It bounces out of bounds.
Adelaide have already gone inside. They're attacking 50 on 5 occasions to Collingwood's 1, so we're going back to the way the game started.
Maybe one of the things that swayed Neil Craig could have been that effort by Riley, as coming away Edwards spots Thompson. Thompson wants to go, thought about going back to Edwards. Now he kicks inside the 50. In fact, it was a nothing kick marked by Heath Shaw.
Had an excellent second quarter, Heath Shaw.
Wakeland, nothing on down the ground. Lockyer's got some space back in the middle, but Wakeland decides that Shaw and/or this man, Swan, will do. Swan comes across to Clement. So they just settle for the moment. Burns, close to the boundary line, kicks towards the forward 50. In best position, Cloak. Belatedly snatched away by Tawney. Cloak outside the 50.
Heath Shaw off the ground straight to the coach, getting some instruction. He'll come straight back onto the ground, you'd think.
Doubt that Cloak can kick this. Rocker is back in the square on Rutten, though. Virtually a 1 out. They'll come to the ball now. In fact, they came too quickly, got underneath it. And Stevens, one of the biggest improvers in the league, took the mark and finds Johncock.
Thomas to try and run him down there. Johncock, Welsh and Maxwell. Welsh went to ground, but he got up quickly. Handball to Gill was a beauty. Gill's awkward-looking kick gave Rashudo a task. Burton flips it out to Rashudo, off one leg. This will be interesting. And bounces through for a behind. So some quick movement by the Crows there. Rashudo getting busy again in this term. Here's Swan. That touched off the boot. Tawney couldn't quite find it, but then did well to Shirley. Shirley kicks. The goal. All clear.
The Ricky Olorenshaw.
We mentioned Heath Shaw coming off the ground to get a message from the coach. There's also an injury concern there. He's actually having his ankle restrapped at the moment, but he will be okay to come back on.
The margin back out to 20. It was 21 at quarter time, back to 2 at half time. There's Lockyer under pressure. Just get the feeling the next goal very important. Taken by Cloak. Look away, hand pass releases Davis. Davis is 65 from goal and kicks it directly to Stevens. Perhaps a good thing we don't have the heart rate monitor on Michael Malthouse.
Should have gone to the top of the goal square, that kick. Medhurst was there, 1 out.
Stevens with confidence goes to Hudson. Bock. They're taking the game on at the moment. This is not always Adelaide football. McLeod couldn't get through. Well done by Lockyer. He was hanging on for grim death. Watch that again. Well, they coughed it up again. Hudson, Thompson, McLeod. Dear, oh dear. Both sides just giving it back. Charity begins at the dome. There goes the kick from Bryan. Out wide, Pendlebury, 60 metres out. Short one, Thompson. So eventually, Collingwood punish Adelaide for a mistake and a chance to score.
Had a quiet night, Thomas, too. Has found it really hard to shake himself free. Just 6 touches. That's a good kick. A perfectly weighted kick on a hard lead.
Dale Thomas, a lot of responsibility riding on this kick. No trouble at all, slots it straight through the middle.
Thomas, Pendlebury setting him up, Buckley sitting it out for the moment. McLeod with a couple of mistakes, turning it over and getting caught before that, holding the footy. But he has set so much up for the Crows again tonight. Knights, Riley, forced to kick in a hurry. Now Collingwood have got the numbers. Goodwin made a good stretch there and got into the contest.
Was knocked.
Thompson did very well to Hudson, to Goodwin. Measured kick. Porplesia couldn't quite. And then Mackner trying to get involved with Goldsack. Porplesia over the top of Maxwell. Welsh trying to crash his way through.
Hands were free. Got to get rid of it. Your arms were free. You've got to make a handball. At least make an attempt, Scotty.
You heard the umpire, but gee, Welsh at least went and got the football and tried to carry it forward. Medhurst takes the mark. I think Port Pleasure's having a strange night, isn't he?
What?
Not happening for him at the moment. Back to Swan, back to Maxwell. So Collingwood still within a couple of kicks here. Thomas and Johncock able to belt it away. Gee, there's some talent there, Johncock and Thomas, isn't there?
That's where you really want one of your tall targets. There's a mark by Medhurst.
Good mark too. The fist was right there. Awkward landing for Medhurst. Hudson gets a hand of the boundary throw in. Pendlebury taken down strongly by Knights. O'Brien gets away with a crumb. Lockyer has a bounce, running it down towards half forward. Kicks to the 50 and presenting again. We like this young man. Ben Reid is about 55 metres out. Kicking's been his problem. Not this time. That's position A. Big leap down there. Well, Heath Shaw had a bit of it, couldn't hang on. McLeod comes away, kicks to Thompson, has to stretch, takes the mark. Burton offers back towards the middle, that's ignored. The hand pass not good to Rutten. He's dragged off the football, taken by O'Brien. Heath Shaw moments ago was leaping in the goal square and he's missed. He's not leaping with joy, just tugged it left. Golden opportunity. Johncock wasting no time, comes to Knights.
And then Knights, dangerous kick. Stevens so good. Over the back to Massey. Lockyer, very good effort. And probably both teams reasonably happy with the result in the end. Adelaide have got it out of the danger zone.
They're playing a more up-tempo brand of football like they were in the first quarter, where they're just trying to get the ball on as quickly as they can and force the play down the field.
O'Brien, third man up.
Free kick to Burns in. Burns was well held then, and now he's just remonstrating to the umpire.
Talk to him, mate. Don't yell. Just talk to him, mate.
Shirley's picking him up at the stoppages. He's in. There it is. Clearly held.
So Richards and Griffin. Davis, Port Pleasure's little handball. Knights did very, very well. And releases Goodwin, who's a left footer.
He's about 70 metres out, took too long. Goldsack got him, holding the ball.
Jason!
That's great play by a young bloke. Great chase, great tackle. Never gave in, lunged at the tackle and caught Goodwin. Well done, son.
A young defender who's been fast-tracked. He looks at home back there now. Wakeland to the opposite side of the ground. Reece Shaw is running. 14 possessions for Simon Goodwin.
Just choked the midfield here, the Adelaide Crows. Look at the numbers inside the central part of the ground.
Wakeland. This time he'll try Clark. He'll run it up. Hard leading from Cloak, but he goes wide of Cloak. Medhurst will get to this one just inside the line. That kick was, dare we say it, centimetre perfect. He comes back towards the middle. Maxwell. Clark, who moments ago had it in the back pocket, lines up from long range. Buckley! How cool was that?
That was a deep penetrating kick by the kid though, wasn't it?
It was a terrific kick, and Buckley just unruffled. Like the other side of the pillow, steps around and kicks a goal. He is so cool.
Hey, all the goodies are here. This Acer laptop, a ridiculous $649 with a DVD burner, widescreen and Windows Vista. Western Digital 250GB external hard drive, $139.95. 50-pack of blank DVDs out for $19.95. USB digital TV tuner, just $79. Save on laptops, save on computers, save on hundreds of items.
Hasn't kicked a goal in the AFL for a while. It's his first this season down here, Rick.
I mentioned Heath Shaw before having an injury problem with his ankle. He only lasted about 3 or 4 minutes on the ground. He's come back off again, straight down the roofs. He's really had to have to restructure that back line and lose his drive.
Gee, that's important, isn't it? Riley and Thompson. So now Adelaide challenged again. Turnovers will be important. Bock off one step. Burton can't get a run at it. Matner read it well. Back to Port Pleasure. Portlesia uses the run. Thompson at 50. And that's a spray.
Nick, couple more, mate. Keep coming.
It's a young Collingwood defence, but they work really well for each other. On those high balls, they're prepared to come off their man, just make the contest.
Burns called to play on now. This is a very important mark to Johncock, who could kick a goal, gets inside 50, and Adelaide now being inaccurate. Thompson a moment ago, that really was an easy shot for Johncock in the end.
Wakeland is Swan. And this has been an ongoing problem in this term for Collingwood, initiating so many attacks from across half back. Losing in the centre square, O'Brien, Clement. They're piecing it together pretty well.
I think they're playing Matner on Clement as a type defender.
Hunts the boundary with a kick. In fact, goes across the boundary. A wayward kick by his standards, not good enough.
Well, they've got Swan too, who's undersized against Gill, so they've got a few problems down back, Collingwood.
Bock gave it to Knights. Taking the side tonight. Just sets it up. Gill the target. Battles there against Swan, and Swan that time in the mismatch did pretty well. O'Brien, sweeping hand pass, cloaks away, runs beyond the wing. Too clever by half. Straight to Bock. Bock, well, didn't look. Burns.
Pope's kicked 4 clangers tonight. His disposal has been right off.
Play on's the call now on Burns. Back to Wakeland. Very much the ringmaster back there. Swan, as they reload to Clement, the defensive side of the wing. Breaking hard is Maxwell. Will he use it? Maxwell has run a long way, but is bypassed by Clement. Play on's the call. And back he comes again to Wakeland.
Rocker had to work hard then. He was going to be the next best option.
She sure got rid of Welsh, which was interesting, about 10 metres off it.
Umpire right there.
O'Brien doesn't run and carry, but kicks inside 50. O'Brien with pace. Rutten just couldn't quite get a handle on it. O'Brien, Thompson runs him down, did well. Heard the call for the umpire. Now Box got Johncock out very wide. Dangerous kick. Johncock did very well. And then he and Stevens just make a bit of a meal of it, but Johncock kicks a beauty to Matner. Playing as a defensive forward, Matner. Gill. Good hands.
He's the target when they go forward because he's so much bigger than Swan, and he's got a great pair of hands.
Into Shirley. McLeod was outside him. Now Welsh goes early and short. I think he's going to go to Welsh. It's a bad kick. So Adelaide turning it over.
Burns. Not only Adelaide, Shirley inside the forward 50. Oh, terrific by Gill. Oh, this bloke has got some tricks.
He's a real cluster. What about the comedy of errors, though? Adelaide going forward, missing Welsh, and then the target off half back. I mean, Rocker has worked hard to get off Rutten. One of those brief moments tonight when he found himself free, but the ball just didn't hit its target.
So Gill will kick from just outside the 50. Gives it a wide, good-looking effort, as confident as you like.
Important player, Gill, in his 6th game of AFL.
The pressure keeps going back on, though, this Collingwood defence. Rashido's back onto the ground now.
I think we've said it a couple of times. Next goal. Davis read it beautifully, but straight to Johncock.
I can't believe how many times Collingwood have kicked the ball directly to the Adelaide Crows.
So Knights, Bock calling Griffin away from the contest now. So Bock's on his own out here. Don't think Knights has spotted him. Now he does. Bock had to wait for a while. Loves to play on Bock. An up and under kick, but it's been the way Adelaide have gone. Hudson the target that time. Burton couldn't quite take it.
Dragged it in, Simon. You dragged it back in, Simon. Try and knock it on, mate. You dragged it back in.
So you heard the umpire against Goodwin. He did drag it back in there, so it's a good call by the ump. So Swan at half-back. It's in a holding pattern, this match, isn't it? Goldsack. Gee, what a great season. 63 in the draft team last year, and here he is. Gill was the oldest man in the draft, so
they've really fast-tracked his development too, Goldsack.
Back to Swan.
It's been a great effort by the Magpies, remaining competitive, very competitive, while introducing young players. Some of it forced on them. Awkward half volley for Thomas. Knights goes to Rashudo. Edwards short, not 15, so the umpire, or did he? He must have said it was 15, did he?
Gee, Swan's going to have to work on his delivery over the summer months too. That kick had to hit its target. It made it really difficult for Thomas, and that was the reason why the ball got turned over. Now, that's questionable whether or not that ball's carried 15 metres, but it was the kick that didn't stick that set it up.
I heard the umpire call something 15, and the ball was in flight. As Goodwin comes in and hooks this one. Big leap down there. Burton off hands and across the line.
If you look down the other end of the ground, Collingwood's best chance when they go forward is still being able to direct the ball through Reid. He's been able to get off Stevens all night with his pace. Rocker's been shut down by Rutten, and Box had the best of Cloak tonight.
Clement to Lockyer. Important at that ball stayed in. Clark, who can carry a footy. Oh, no, it didn't.
There was another kick that missed his target, though.
If it makes you feel better, Dennis, I thought he said not 15 also. Does it make you feel better?
Well, maybe he did then, Bruce. Yes, I feel better.
Medhurst from Obrey. And then Medhurst quickly to Thomas. John Cock went early. Gee, Thomas sort of stopped and propped and then got rid of his man and misses. Well, it's been a wasteful night, hasn't it? Both teams, but particularly Collingwood. They started it early with those misses, Cloak and Rocker. The clangers, the turnovers, the kicks to the opposition. But Adelaide, and I reckon Crows supporters back home would know what I'm saying, they do take a long time to kill teams off. They had so much of it against Brisbane last week.
Burton took him out early.
It had to be a free kick against Thomas. They jumped early into Burton, just took him out of the contest.
So the Birdman from centre wing.
This side up by 14 points. Some holding down there on Goldsack. No free kick. Mantner a bit lucky. Brilliant pick up for Fleischer through it. That's been a real problem tonight for him. He's a gutsy player. We like him a lot, but his disposal by hand tonight has not been good. Collingwood's by foot is chancy as well. A half chance for Edwards came unglued. Lockyer after Burns got it. Down goes Buckley. In the back, Buckley will get the free. And the umpire's working overtime. Well, he was trying to straighten him up, but Buckley had other ideas. He was hell-bent on going forward, if that makes sense. There goes the kick across the 50. John Cock won't get there. Bryan's taken the mark. Just outside the 50. He is a long kick. We're down to a minute 20. Collingwood, a win here will finish tonight at least in the top four. Adelaide a win and they'll play in the finals. Bryan pulls the kick towards the opposite pocket. In from the side, Hudson.
Too easy. That has to be a contest. They have to try and bring the ball to the ground, the key forwards there for Magpies.
Gee, that's a good kick by Hudson. Outside the 50 to Tawney. It's been a pretty good quarter for the Crows so far. Anything could happen. Massey held up by Shaw. Edwards, handball not good. Buckley almost. And then Tawney, he dragged it back. Ball up.
He was almost away then, Buckley. Almost able to extricate himself. Just couldn't quite finish it off.
The mind was working perfectly. He read it so well. Can Collingwood score from the stoppage? Lockyer. Toe pokes forward. John Cock has to keep his head over it. He does. Goodwin's handball okay. They sort of force it forward, Adelaide. Not much happening.
One last chance here, Collingwood. You would think from this stop play inside their attacking half. lots of players around the ball, but one-on-one contests inside their 50.
Hudson, who's done well. Pendlebury, well done to Medhurst. Here's the chance. Medhurst, normally a good kick. That's a beauty.
Keep coming back, Ben. Anthony.
Rocker's first touch for the quarter.
And this is the mark right here.
They set it up really well. They're always going to have an opportunity to score if they were to win the ball then. Just one-on-one contests in their forward line. Rocker went deep to the goal square.
Well, one kick makes such a difference. You run the straight line, a mercurial player, and this to bring Collingwood right back close and give them a whole heap of momentum. It's a good kick. I reckon right now they feel like they've won the quarter. And yet they didn't. The Crows won it by a goal. It could not be better set up, you reckon. At three-quarter time, with Adelaide everything to play for, Collingwood looking for top four. It's 68-60. This is Friday Night Footy.
Finals race. Goodwin gives it back. Hudson on his knees, the beneficiary. Thompson out of the middle, drives it long. Gill with the run down there. Portlesia off hands. Wheels around. Slips a hand pass to Rashudo. Rashudo on the 50. Tugs it left. And it goes through for a minor score. Well, they've loaded up on the forward line again. Rashudo, one of 5 dangerous goal kickers, deep in attack.
Magpies are loaded up in their forward line too. Nathan Buckley playing out of the goal square alongside the young kid Reed.
It's like the OK Corral. Maxwell's got it in the back pocket.
Kicks to Clark. Very important player, I think, Clark. He's got the ability to break a line and kick long and accurately. He's just one of the stories of the year, isn't he? To Clement. Speaking of kicking the ball long and accurately. But they're back to where they were a minute ago to Swan.
Problem when they've played like this tonight, Collingwood, they've actually turned the ball over. Their kicking skills have been below what you'd expect from an AFL team.
And Adelaide, knowing that, Tim, have been able to be patient with them. Here's Clark, improvising. O'Brien, well done, sold a dummy. Floats it to Maxwell. It wasn't a good-looking kick, but it did find its man. And then Maxwell wide to Shaw. And Ricky's had his eye on for most of the night. Rocker, who kicked the big goal late in the turn.
I reckon that's done his confidence the world of good too. He worked really hard to get off Rutten there to present himself.
Well, concedes a lot of ground. Back to O'Brien. Gee, you've got to be confident in your kick to do that, don't you?
O'Brien jabs it across to Clement. Clement pushes up the ground inside the centre square. Kicks towards the 50. Uncontested. Tawney goes up, takes the mark, wants to go across to Johncock. He's got some space in front, takes off, short one. That was well measured. There were 2 players in short, bypassed them and went to Burton. Burton to Thompson. Interesting watching Collingwood bring it out. I think there are certain players Adelaide will put pressure on. I would imagine they're the players they've identified as being suspect in their disposal. The short one from Bock is Gill. Other players like Clement, they just back off. Gill, 65 metres from goal. He's been terrific tonight, this young man. Sets it up, high ball. So much riding on every contest. Rashudo, was he pushed?
He's short, he just slung him out of the way.
No, it's going the other way.
He's
off
short.
The ball. Collingwood are getting it free.
A lot of heavy bodywork off the ball then.
Heath Shaw in his own defensive goal square.
There's a free kick by Welsh, just slinging him out of the way.
One of the problems Gu had there was that he wasn't there to take the mark. And Burton was leading short, so they didn't have their 2 high flyers. Reece Shaw stretching Rashudo. Good-looking kick to Lockyer.
And that's exactly what they have to do. They have to take the game on from half-back.
Another neat-looking kick to Reed.
He can get off his man, this kid. He's very quick. He can't go too long because Rocker's on a 1-on-3 really back there.
And he does give Rocker a run at it, and Rocker's got it.
That was a beautifully weighted kick then.
Well, he's becoming important, isn't he?
He does this. He plays in bursts, Anthony Rocker. Rarely sided in the first almost 3 quarters of football. Just before 3/4 time, took that mark, went back, kicked that goal. And then since then, he's looked a different player.
And can have big last quarters too. He's done it already this year for Collingwood when they've needed him. He's missed it. It wasn't a bad kick. Just a tiny little hook. So Collingwood creeping to 61. Adelaide stalling at 69. Very short. Edwards from McLeod, and then a probing long kick and a good one to Tawney.
The margin as it was at 3/4 time. Tawney comes back to the middle. Van Berlo with courage. St Rock is the patron saint of travelling, and certainly Anthony Rocker was travelling when he hit Van Berlo, but he's come off second best. Meanwhile, Rashuto downfield has got the footy.
Oh, crunch.
Wonderful courage by Van Berlo. And he must be a pretty hard body. And this could be bad news, certainly short term for Collingwood. Anthony Rocker says he's fine, brushes aside the trainer, and just to prove it, used his bad arm. In comes Rashuto, telling kick right on the line. Wakeland, despairing leap, not good enough.
Just Modra has more goals for the Crows in the 290s, Rashuto. Buckley got his 283rd in the 3rd quarter. So Adelaide get a little break again. Bryan did well. Rocker in the contest. But Massey read it best to McLeod. Not a great kick, Tawney. Oh, good mark. But he was forced to go because the and then deliberately out. Gee, interesting. Under pressure, being tackled, had to handball it out, but that's still deliberate, isn't it?
It's Paul Brother.
But the McLeod kick made it hard for Tawney. Van Berlo misses his target. Back to Tawney, and then Tawney off one step, no Crow there. Wakeland to run onto it. Wouldn't that be something if the Wakeland brothers played against each other in a final series? Darrell's last season, who knows about Shane? He's done a very good job, Shane Wakeland, this year. He's played 1 game more this season than he did last. I reckon that's a bonus. Here's Heath Shaw.
Marshalling his teammates, at least initially, told to play on. Welsh comes to him. Swan's got it. Edwards was closing. Crowd 150. Was he in the contest? Collectively, that's their question. Here's Clark. From half back.
Oh, it's a good kick.
Nice kick. Shaw thought about going to Lockyer. Lockyer runs on. Now he does, but really gained little. I think his first option was the best. His instinct didn't follow it. Now Clement's got the ball close to the boundary line. Cloak on the lead. Now where's Reid? He offers towards the pocket, clearing an area there for Rocker. He'll go back towards the square. How will it bounce? Oh! Well, we'll have a good view of this one, I fancy. Rocker reckons it's over the line. Rutten got a hand to it, or did he? I think he did. Goal umpire in a pretty good spot. Shirley comes away. That's a terrible kick.
To Richards.
Thomas.
And Thomas gets it from Pendlebury. And he just loves this situation. It's a terrible kick. And that's twice now that Thomas, on the burst, has missed. He missed in the 3rd quarter.
He's looked out of sorts tonight, Thomas. He hasn't been as clean as we've seen his disposal for most of this season.
John Cox kick again, thought with danger. So Bock to Thompson. Adelaide get a goal here to make it tough because it's a low-scoring game. Rashuto, oh, well done. He had a beautiful feel for it, didn't he?
Yep.
He just tricked Wakeland into it.
He had 2 options then when he kicked the ball, Thompson. Is that touch on the line again? Rocker had a really good look at that, but...
Oh, perfect, eh? Goal umpire Mark Harrison.
Right on the line.
Well, Tim, you said Roo hasn't had a big night. You're right. He's kicked 2-2. He gave a handball to Gill, who goaled. If he kicks this, it's getting larger by the minute. This is a telling kick in an important match. And the captain drills it home, leading from the front.
Six or 7 weeks ago, the Statesman started to develop this persistent whistle. Drove my wife Susie absolutely insane.
How fitting it was. Does that put down the resistance? We're about to find out. Inside 50s. Even spread in this term. Gill out of the middle. Adelaide generally doing best with their finishing. Opportunity going to ground is Welsh. And that ball stays in there. Welsh didn't help his cause there. Didn't try and knock it out. And the umpire sometimes takes a set against a player who doesn't try and knock it out. That's the live ladder as it stands at the moment. Adelaide, with so many sides just knocking on the door of the 8th, hoping Collingwood can find something here. This is Clement, close to the boundary line. Kicks beyond the wing. Cloak will have to come back. Johncock through his legs. Coming up was Torn. He played it brilliantly. Got it away to Bock. Bock's kick was good. Hudson on the burst. The big guy, one sock up, one sock down, and McLeod inside the 50. Gill, it was touched, off hands. Well done, Gill. Smothered the kick there from Swan. Was Shuto. Goes wide to another veteran. Edwards lines up and misses. That would have just about done it.
Bock's been a terrific player tonight. He's played on Cloak. He's had 21 touches. He's really beaten Cloak tonight, but he's given the Adelaide Crows enormous drive off halfback as well.
47,915. Great turn up at the Dome. Not quite capacity, but they're roaring at the moment. And they'll roar a bit more if Collingwood can kick a goal. They need it. Gold, Sack, O'Brien. They're taking a chance. Oh, Pleasure brilliant there. It's had a quiet night. That was good. Thompson. Goodwin's handball not great. Riley back to Thompson. Rashuto not quite. Shirley. Oh, well played. Pendlebury. Oh, that IQ was working again, wasn't it? That footy smarts that he's got out wide. And Shaw sets up Medhurst.
Medhurst kicks into the oncoming Welsh, who dives on top of the football. Spilled up the back there to Heath Shaw. Gets away. O'Brien on the wing now. Looks inside the forward 50. Sets it up very high. Bryan will need to come. Wonderful courage, Hudson. Rutten didn't have the football. Rocker jabs at Goldwood and misses.
His intention then was just to kick the ball to Nathan Buckley, but he just got too much of a dribble on it.
19 points the difference. John Copp gets it back from Thompson.
They've got to roll the dice now, Collingwood, if they're to win this game. They've just got to be bold and brave when they gain possession of the ball. Take it on in the midfield. Adelaide are doing their best to actually just slow the game down and play it on their terms.
Good one. 19th possession. Quiet second half towards the wing. It'll go against Thompson.
This is the bloke they're going to try and get into the game. Thomas.
Gee, that's Scotty Thompson rolled the dice there, didn't he? With the throwing the ball back to Thomas.
He'll be fresh now, Lockie. He's just had a 5-minute spell on the interchange bench.
Well, there's enough time. It's just how do they create them? Cloak, whose last kick was a beauty, was touched on the line. That one a high ball. Rocker's got it. Rutten just getting lost there for a moment. A floating high one.
How often do we see that, though, in modern-day football, where a side tries to pinpoint their passes all night to a forward, it gets late in the game, and they just decide to kick it to an area, and the forwards, because they are smart players, and they do watch the ball off the boot, get to that position first.
Just 3 behinds in the final quarter, Collingwood. And this is what's happened all night. Adelaide has made the running. Collingwood's come back. They came back in the second term. They came back in the second half of the third quarter. Is this the commencement of a comeback in the second half of the final term? He's kicked 2 goals, 2. He squeezed it in. They're still in it.
Only 5 for the season. Goalless against Adelaide back in round 6. Telling goal right there to keep them alive. The backup ruckman go at it. Griffin knocked it down. Goodwin couldn't control it. Thompson paddles it out towards the wing. Goodwin on the assist. Tawney, he's been good at half-back. Touched off the boot. Problems for Gill. Was he pushed in the back? Not according to the umpire.
He went to his back.
In the side, mate. Didn't have a proper opportunity. That's fine. Thanks, Nick.
Just watch this again. It's been touched, but there's Maxwell. And what we've seen tonight, that was in the back.
Burns. Taken by Shirley. Lockyer did well. Reece Shaw. That was borderline. Just got the ball off. O'Brien's got a problem. Out of there by his own boot, if you don't mind. Reece Shaw feeds it back to Burns. Burns gets it over the top. This is Thomas. Thomas looking down towards half forward. In front is Reid. He's going to get the free kick. Ben Reid.
Just there.
Tim has sung his praises all night. Gee, he's prepared to work hard. Taking a couple of wonderful marks low down. Intended for Cloak. Nothing in the back there. Was there something in the back? No, in the side the second time. Rocco, Rutten, O'Brien somehow got it out of there. Ferrets it across the front of goal. Arriving quickly is Goodwin. And Goodwin pushes it across the line.
Thomas has got a couple of important touches since he went into the midfield.
Testing times for Adelaide. They're sitting on a lead, but it's not big enough, is it?
They like to attack from here too, Adelaide.
Here is Thomas, third man up. Goodwin's toe poke, only as far as Davis. Had a pretty quiet match. He can do anything though. Oh, gee, had it for a while. And then chases his own ball.
You're allowed to do the 360. You just can't complete the 720.
No doubt after that. Can he do something out of the ordinary? Pendlebury, it's been so good. Thompson, well done to John Cock, who just hacks it. It's an awkward kick. Edwards and Cloak, Reece Shaw, a bouncing ball, so important. Adelaide, the beneficiaries. Edwards from Bock. This is an important kick, and he turned it over. He was trying to straighten it up. And Heath Shaw read it best, and here is Davis.
What can he conjure this time? Well, he decides to settle. Just under 6 minutes to go. Davis told to play on. Kicks towards half forward. Thomas up very early. Riley got a fist on it. Standing his ground. Lockyer stolen away Pendlebury. O'Brien 60 metres out. Terrible. Tried to kick it way too hard. And it spills out of bounds in the pocket.
He's a glider, isn't he, Pendlebury?
Nice, good.
That was hanging on? Is that 50 metres? Not in the marking contest?
I think so. Boundary throw in. Bryan directs it down behind. Favours McLeod, went to ground. Head down. Tawney over the football. Van Berlo's in there. So too Thompson. At the base of that is Clark.
There are some players like Pendlebury who just make the game look so easy and uncomplicated, don't they?
There's one of them. Watching from the sidelines at the moment. Second week back. Out of the congestion. Thompson. It runs towards the boundary. What will Gill do here? Plenty of time. Bock kicks it down towards half forward. Massey attracts a crowd. Almost came back to him. Goldsack goes to ground.
And Thomas again getting involved to Wakeland. So that was an important ball for Collingwood. Wakeland's kick to the 50. Rutten got rid of Rocker. Does McLeod? There's a free kick to O'Brien.
The initial hold came from you.
Medhurst is on here.
O'Brien plays on and kicks a goal. Collingwood charging home.
Yeah, hi. Can I have a fillet burger combo, potato and gravy, and 3 wicked wings?
So, an ultimate burger meal with wicked wings.
It's the obvious choice. Ultimate
this season, 2 tonight. And the margin just 7 points. Plenty of time. Rucks go at it. Up very high was Richards. The two number ones both back on the ground. Burns didn't have it. He'll get the free kick alongside the centre circles. Their season on the line now, the Crows. They're being challenged yet again. Can they hold? Burns, penetrating kick, deep into attack. Rutten and Rocker off their fingertips. Lurking at the back is Cloak. Stifled by Massey. Taken away by Thompson. Kicks towards the wing. Wakeland leads in the race. The ball bounces back towards Gill. Socket towards the boundary by Wakeland. And it's out of bounds. Oh! Well, the umpire thought about it as he ran across. There was no early call. Makes you wonder about that earlier hand pass across the line, of course.
Gill's kick missing the target. Knight's running onto it. Does he use Riley? He does. And Riley has kicked the goal that might put them into the finals.
Hey, all the goodies are here. This Acer laptop, a ridiculous $649 with a DVD burner, widescreen and Windows Vista. Western Digital 250GB external hard drive, $139.95. 50-pack of blank DVDs out for $19.95. USB digital TV tuner, just $79. Save on laptops, save on computers, save on hundreds of items.
He wishes that phone was to Jeff Geishan, I'm sure. 13 points, the difference then. Watch it again. Not much doubting it, I don't think. But then again, we saw that hand pass earlier that should have resulted in a Collingwood free, and the umpire just explained it away that he was under pressure. Well, Wakeland was under pressure as well. Hudson out of the middle. Gill comes striding. So does Clark. Gill got him dead to rights. Corney's got it taken down by Lockyer.
Fine, guys, held to him.
Well, best we don't
He
talk.
actually got a little handball.
This is a great tackle by Gill.
Doesn't matter how far it goes, as long as he gets a handball. Straight back. Play on.
Hudson, who hasn't played any finals footy. He's the one that's missed out in the last 2 years. Good one from Riley. Now this would finish it. They're there.
You can go into any department and buy something for Dad for Father's Day.
Rapid wrench, $28.90. Air compressor, $98. Tool trolley combo, $119. Drilling and screw driving toolbox, $59. Barbecue herb pack, $15.98.
The little clearances. It's going to be tough now for the Magpies. They'll finish in the bottom half of the eighth.
Too early.
Hudson has been very good, coming up for his 15th possession.
I think a Ruckman.
Glamorous player, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, no, he's solid. I think Ruckman's going to be at the head of the shopping list for the Magpies again over the summer months.
Dennis, if Hawthorn beats Sydney on Sunday, these two teams will play one another in the first week of the finals.
Here's Edwards. Lead comes from Knights. Play on's the call. They've got plenty of time now, the Crows. Nothing to hurry about. For Pleasure, goal sack falling to the ground. Buckley taken by Knights. Holding the ball was the call, not deliberate.
No handball.
So it's all happening for Adelaide just for the moment. The Knights has kicked a poor one. Burns hacks it back. Edwards did well. He had a terrific opening turn, and Pendlebury gets hold of him.
Their midfield's been more powerful than the Magpies tonight over the four quarters. They've had their moments, the Collingwood midfielders, but overall, they just haven't been able to match the strength and the precision of the Adelaide Crows midfielders.
I think you gave me a stat earlier in the night, 9 frees to 2 Adelaide. It's now 19-18 Collingwood. Adelaide going to the finals for the 6th time in 7 years. St Kilda gone, Brisbane gone, Dockers were probably gone anyway.
He's been a terrific coach for them, Neil Craig.
Sure.
Trick. No.
And I guess now, one of the talking points will be, can they be dangerous now that they've made it?
I don't think teams will be queuing up to play them. Thomas comes back. Pendlebury running on the angle from wing towards the middle, comes right across the ground. Maxwell just on the ground, put the body in. Gill is outnumbered, but that doesn't seem to faze him too much. Applied good pressure. Shaw got it out to Maxwell. This is Clark, back to Shaw. Heath Shaw, 75 metres from goal. Coming with the run is Bock.
He's been great tonight. Probably best on ground tonight, Bock.
Well, Neil Craig, in the conversation I had with him, Tim, about 2 months ago, thought that he could be an elite centre-half back. He said, we've had to play him forward this year because of circumstances. He felt he was a natural centre-half back.
But you still get the feeling that if they got in trouble during the finals and they needed somebody to actually give them a lift in the forward line, he's that type of player, similar to Hunt of the West Coast Eagles.
Good one. Gee, Hudson has been so good. They dropped him, didn't they, for the Geelong game, the curfew. He's come back well. Riley was his beautiful goal that really sealed it. Shirley to Edwards. Cute kick. Aubrey. Buckley. So Buckley and Rashudo might be at it again next week. Roo hasn't played his last game. And Adelaide with the footy in their hands and with their destiny still in their hands. Renshaw with Crows coach Neil Craig.
Well, Neil, with the season really on the line, you must be really proud of the way your boys dug deep tonight.
Yeah, it was a really good, strong game of footy, Rick, from both sides. You know, probably worthy of the final, really, but yeah, no, it was a great win for us with the last 3 weeks, but now it starts again and it's still in knockout finals footy, but great win for our footy club.
Neil, you could be back here again next week, maybe same opposition.
Yeah, well, be great opposition to play against too. It's a great game of footy, so you know, to go into the elimination final against Collingwood would be a great game between two good clubs.
We appreciate your time tonight, mate.
Well, Collingwood, as the Crows are winners 94-75, Collingwood will have to play either Sydney or Adelaide. The two teams have played in the last 2 weeks, and with their record against Sydney, I reckon they might be fancying the Swans. Here's two legends together. We saw Archer and Hurd, didn't we, earlier this season? But Rashudo and Buckley know they might be at it again next week, tossing the coin.
Nathan Buckley just marshalling the troops, adding a couple of quiet words to them before they head off under the grandstands here into their change rooms. And Rashudo, it's fitting that somebody as great as Rashudo has been, that he should play out his career in the AFL finals, though.
And he made a contribution, didn't he?
He did. When the game was on the line, he did in the last quarter. And that's what he is now. He's a bit player.
Well, this is a lovely touch. Obviously, this is someone close to him. And that's just a gorgeous scene, isn't it?
I mean, once upon a time, you would probably expect that he'd be the mainstay and the star in the forward line, but that's no longer the case. And Gill's playing a terrific supporting role for him down there in the forward line at the moment.
Just get the feeling there's a lot of improvement in both those champions, though, Rashudo and Buckley. I think next week they'll be closer to their best. A couple of runs under their belts. Broad smiles all round. And there's been one of the stories of the year. Nick Gill, out of nowhere, has become a key player, and one that whoever plays Adelaide in the future will need to assess and watch closely. And he's such a difficult player to match up with, so athletic on the ground, so quick, so aggressive, and of course we know that wonderful marking capacity.
He's got a terrific pair of hands and his work rate is enormous. And what a great story. He is somebody who's had so many doors closed on him throughout his AFL career that he should find himself a regular spot in the side that's going to participate in the finals.
Well, they've done it the hard way. Michael Malthouse, he knows that he's in a knockout final next week. They've done it the hard way, the Crows. 3 weeks ago, they had to win 3 to make the finals. They've achieved it.
On Jamie's brand new show.
Get ready to be amazed.
If you could bring all your favourite things into your backyard.
Would you choose a kid's wonderland?
A paradise for the whole family.
Or something for all your mates?
Brand new Australia's Best Backyards. Sunday. Then she's about to take her new baby home. But wait till she sees her house.
It just looked like a trash site.
Now it's showtime. See what it takes him to turn their house from this into this. Brand new hot property Sunday.
Jenny? My dad.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Can I use your bathroom? Right down the hall.
This side. Like bounce, bounce, wow. Wow. Wow.
God bless America.
We've improved the formula. New links, now with added.
Load up with great gift ideas for Dad this Father's Day at Autobarn. Valvoline XLD Premium 5 litres, $10.99. Dual 7-inch screen and DVD system, just $2.97. Armour All Complete Clean gift bucket, just $19.99. Autobarn, the automotive superstore.
At Amart All Sports, save up to 60% on the latest fitness gear for Dad and get 12 months interest-free. Home gyms and exercise bikes, $200 off. These treadmills are crazy, $8.99, save $300. And row is 60% off. But hurry, only until Father's Day. Amart All Sports, Australia's #1 sports discounter.
At Medibank Private, we don't like you waiting either. That's why we'll waive the 2 and 6 month waiting periods on extras when you take out hospital and extras cover before the 29th of September. To join today, visit us or call 132 331.
I feel better now.
Introducing the all-new Dodge Avenger. The all-new Dodge Avenger. It's a natural performer.
Starting tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for 9 days, Stepney's will be taking 20% off everything in store. Yes, you heard right. Everything in store, 20% off. There'll be no exceptions. No lay-bys. 9 a.m. to 9...
They're currently 7th on the premiership table. They finished their qualifying rounds with a record of 12-10 and a very strong percentage after this victory tonight. 14-10, 94 to other 9-75. 3 goals to Burton, 3 to Rasciuto, and Anthony Rocker booted 3 for Collingwood. David Schwartz is with me now, and Dave, some contentious free kicks in that final turn.
Well, there certainly was, and the margin was 7 points, and the ball came over towards the wing near the interchange. And just have a look at this, because this is Shane Wakelin and Nick Gill just fighting for the footy. Just almost an innocuous kick towards the boundary line. Not sure if it's deliberate. Ball comes down the other end. It goes from 7 points out to 13. 4 minutes to go on the clock, and game over.
Wakelin was battling with Nick Gill there, and Nick Gill, we touched on him as they came off the ground. What a season, what a contribution he's making in so few games towards the end of this run.
Well, he's unique, and it's probably the best word to describe this bloke. He was actually at Melbourne when I was there, and he's got this freakish ability. Yeah, we haven't seen it yet, but he can take a serious high mark like Burton can, and he's just raw talent. He's getting better with each game. What I do like about him is his work rate. When he hasn't got the foot, he's working really hard. He tries to bring other players into the game, And you can't ask any more than that from he's not a young man, from a man young in experience with games.
And you just know with confidence he's going to be so much more exciting, isn't he?
Oh, he is. And I can promise you, you will wait and you'll see him sit on someone's shoulders and he'll take Mark of the Year.
Tarkin Lockyer, again, battled his heart out tonight.
He did. He's had a good year, and every time he takes to the field, you know that you're going to get 100%. I don't think he finished as well today, but he got his hands on the foot. He had 24 disposals. He had the 10 marks, 2 clearances and 3 inside 50s, but they put Shirley on him, so that's the sign of respect. He's their #1 tagger, so when you're getting the #1, you know you're in pretty good form. And I thought he was really good tonight.
A few weeks ago, Michael Malthouse was very critical of his midfield. Now, with this midfield, the way they're playing, do you think Collingwood can really represent a challenger as far as the premiership's concerned? Tough enough they're in the situation they're in the bottom half of the 8, but can they push with this midfield, do you think?
Not without Josh Fraser. I think Josh Fraser is so important to their side. It gives Richards that break, and while Bryant's tried really hard, he's still not the finishing of a Josh Fraser, and I think he's important. I reckon the little guys are okay, but that one big bloke with a fair bit of talent and a fair bit of class, they're lacking.
And the good news coming out of tonight for all football lovers is the career of Mark Rasciuto marches on into the finals for the Adelaide Crows. At least one more.
Yeah, fantastic news.
Let's take a look at his form tonight.
Well, look, he started off slow. He looked dangerous at times on Harry O'Brien. I thought Harry got lost a little bit early, and I thought if he got on a one-on-one battle with him, he'd be too strong. Where he hurts you, he finishes really well, and he can kick a long goal. I reckon he's lost a little bit of power in the legs, but he still reads the ball really well, and that was a very important goal. Good players kick the goals at very important times.
There he is. Congratulations to him, equaling the club games record tonight. He's up there with Ben Hart now. He'll break the record next week, all things being equal. And one of the nice additions tonight was the heart rate monitor worn by the Adelaide coach, Neil Craig. A real good insight for commentators like ourselves watching this. I'm sure we were getting higher than he was.
Well, mine hits 100 when I get out of the chair. Now, he's got over 100 twice within the match. And we've got to understand how the pressure that he's under to make decisions, to get the players off, to, when Collingwood start charging. He's a remarkably calm man. Probably needs a nickname in the fridge. That is almost unheard of. 102 it got to when he, got to his fiercest or his most annoyed. So if you've got a coach like that, you know you're going to make good decisions. Good decisions are made when you're not under pressure.
I like the way it just drops off sometimes too, just settles back like a raccoon.
Especially when Collingwood have got the footy, which you would think that your heart rate would be up more. You'd be thinking, how do we get the ball back here? But no, he's Mr. Ice.
We've got some raw material coming in too. Bruce and I tonight over 100 a combined 27 times.
I saw Bruce getting very wound up there at one stage. He loves his Crows, Bruce, too, but...
no, he doesn't.
No, he
impartial.
doesn't.
He loves them all.
Impartial. But, no, I thought that the Crows set up really well. They had a game plan. They wanted to strangle the Pies through the middle of the ground, and they did that.
Oh, that was a great finish.
85.
And Riley may have been the catalyst, actually, for their change on the forward line. Remember that time he was looking around for the lead, and after half-time, I think that may have made Neil Craig think about how he was going to structure the forward line, trying to be too deliberate. Suddenly, long kicks were good enough in the second half. Yeah,
they went defensive, didn't they? They just wanted to play that short-kicking game, but if you got those options up forward, I think that's one thing Collingwood did wrong. And whilst you want to keep possession, you got Cloak, you got Rocker, you got some little players in. Thomas, Buckley was down, and also Leon Davis. Get the thing in long. Trust your players one-on-one and give them an opportunity. If it fails 2 or 3 times, well, then try another option. But they didn't even give that long kick option one go all night.
The Crows are in the finals. Here are the numbers on tonight's game.
Well, look, the hit-outs, we spoke about how important Josh Fraser is to the lineup. A couple of differences there. The clearances, well, that was about the only other difference. But other than that, the game was pretty even, and that's how it was up until 3 minutes to go, and then Adelaide got 3 late goals. So overall, a pretty even style of footy. But the Crows did change because they were down on their possessions from normal, and they were more direct tonight.
I know I speak for Bruce when he says each team in its own way is special. So that's it. A good result as far as the Crows are concerned. A fantastic result after some problems about, what, 5-6 weeks ago, it looked perhaps they couldn't make it. A lot of people thought, well, there were good things coming in. They've proven they were, but they did it the hard way. The margin tonight, 19 points. So Adelaide fans can celebrate. Back with more footy right after this.
Every Collingwood supporter at the MCG is on his feet.
Bucks was back, and so too the Roo.
To Rashido.
It was a bumper round, all right.
There's a big hit.
With front bumps, friendly bumps, bumps from above.
He gets satisfied, and that's ugly.
It even had bumps from the umps.
That's probably 5 metres off the ball. Should have been a free kick to Winderley.
Running back with the flight of the ball is one way to avoid hands in the back. Using your opponent's head is another.
I'd like to hear that. Your opponent was on your head.
And that's a miss, and he's kicked 2 behind.
Buddy's behinds kept coming and coming.
It's the post.
But like the kicks he missed, he fell too short of the all-time behinds record.
2 goals to 11.
Dad and his kids in the playground that is the MCG.
The herd era might be coming to a close for now, but the year 2020 looks bright for the baby Bombers, judging from this wonderful moment between a dad and his kids.
He'll kick it from here. He's got it.
For Geelong fans, though, the time for their famous sons is now.
Edwards got it. Finds a way through. It's a goal. Geelong in front.
They'll replay that goal for the next 20 years.
And they'll replay this one for a while to come too.
Cassisi to win it. Cassisi does win it. History repeats itself.
3 seconds left on the clock.
To an end they are standing. Hardly any of the 88,500 have left.
It was a farewell like no other. A final hug, and if you were lucky, a kiss, as well as one last wave of the jacket.
One final goodbye for the legendary coach and the super champion.
2 mismatched partners, 1 messed up case. Anthony Hopkins and Chris Rock in the action smash Bad Company on 7.
I saw Father's Day. You buy Kevin Television, 喺我嘅 DVD. You sing along to your favorite Kim song. Santa Claus, whatever you want away, I give up spanking. I guarantee you better get laughing. Oh, so, give your father a happy ending this Father's Day. You go buy Karaoke Kim DVD. I saw.
Remember years ago when Father's Day was special? We'd thank him properly for building the deck, fixing the gate and painting the house.
He thought it was grouse.
Now it's grooming products and cookbooks written by footy players, no more.
Pop round to your local home hardware and they'll help you give Dad a proper Father's Day with a proper gift.
Like an Exceed circular saw, only $29.95, or a Tough GMC powered tape measure, just $19.95.
Get it all at your local home timber and hardware.
The proper hardware store.
A solid performance from you today. Yeah, thanks. Well, footy's all about possessions, and I was lucky enough to get a touch. Even had a kick. Great effort. Thanks, mate.
Why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like me, they long to be close to you. Oh, close to you. Close to you.
You know what I hate, Trev? TV ads for insurance companies. They're all full of smiley, happy people who look like models. So unrealistic. Bev.
Introducing the all-new Dodge Avenger. The all-new Dodge Avenger. It's a natural performer.
At Amart All Sports, save up to 60% on the latest fitness gear for Dad and get 12 months interest free. Home gyms and exercise bikes, $200 off. These treadmills are crazy, $8.99, save $300. And row is 60% off. But hurry, only until Father's Day. Amart All Sports, Australia's #1 sports discounter.
Would you like to come in for a coffee? Yeah?
No.
Oh.
If you just can't face a bad coffee, pop into Wild Bean Cafe at BP Connect.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Where have you been?
Nowhere.
You've been to Super Cheap Auto again, haven't you?
No, I haven't. No.
How come you can't close the door?
Okay.
With over 10,000 great value ideas for your car, garage and shed, you just can't get enough at Super Cheap Auto.
Everything auto, much more.
On Today Tonight. So just who is Nicole Corns?
It was tough, it was really tough.
Our exclusive look at the life of Adelaide celebrity mum.
Are you fearful of anything that you've done in your past?
Her childhood struggles, out to work at 14.
Dad left.
Has she got what it takes to make it to Canberra? Monday.
Missing that last quarter, 94 to 75. Toyota time, 7 goals in the last 5 minutes of the quarters tonight. This money going to grassroots footy, and from round 1 to round 22, we're up to $205,000. So that is a great result. Ox, we're going to go back to the Crows rooms. We heard from Neil Craig after the match with Ricky Ollerenshaw. Ricky's now with assistant coach. No, he's on. Hi, Ricky. How are you, mate? I know that you had Paul Hamilton. Let's start with the Crows. Firstly, Burton, is he okay, and is there anyone to come back?
Yes, Bruce, I just spoke to Brett Burton. He gave me the thumbs up, so he's okay for next week, and they've got no other injury concerns, so I'm sure you being a South Australian, we're very happy with that. I also just spoke to Nathan Bassett, who hasn't played since round 13 after injuring his ankle. He says he's probably a couple of weeks away.
So still 2 weeks away. You blokes are giving me a bad reputation here.
Don't take it like that.
Ox, well, let's have a look at Collingwood now. Rusling's one that jumps at us. Fraser, obviously, and maybe Didak.
Yeah, well, Ruskin was a late withdrawal with a cork thigh. Collingwood told me he will be okay for next week. They're also expecting Josh Fraser back from his ankle injury and Didak back from his injury. The other concern they do have out of this game is Heath Shaw, who had an injection to his ankle at 3/4 time. Played the rest of the game out, but we'll have some scans tomorrow, but they think he'll come up okay.
Ricky, big celebration or just one match and a job still to be done for the Crows? What's the feeling down there?
Yeah, it's pretty subdued down here, Bruce. Expecting now they've made the finals, they'll be jumping up with joy. But no, they're a very professional outfit. One guy who does have a smile on his face is Mark Rashudo, because he keeps his career alive.
I reckon Ben Hart would be pretty happy too. He wouldn't mind being second fiddle to Mark Rashudo, which will happen in terms of games played. Nathan Buckley, second match only back. I mean, Roo hasn't played much footy either, but how did you see Buckley's game tonight?
I thought his second quarter was just outstanding. He was able to find the footy. We know how well he uses it. He uses it extremely well. By foot, he's one of the most lethal players in the competition. But his poise and his composure, we know he's got all that. But it was just great to see him get his hands on the footy as often as he did. He had the 9 touches in the second term, and I think that says enough. And confidence like that to go into the left boot. He looked happy out there. He looked content, and I think we're only going to see better things. He's got next week to play. And I reckon he's a certainty to go on next year.
Well, Collingwood have made a lot of changes through the second half of the year to the team, and I reckon we might see 2 or 3 at least next week.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But that's the beauty of this side. It's a young side, but there's plenty of versatility within it.
We're going to go to Paul Hamilton, the assistant coach of the Crows. He played at the Bombers between 1986 and 1992, exactly the same period that Dean Bailey did. So he played with him, Dean Bailey getting the coaching job at Melbourne tonight. So here's Ricky with Paul Hamilton.
Paul, fantastic win by the club. Up against it, Collingwood kept coming at you all night, but you managed to hang in there in the end.
Look, it was a terrific battle. Both sides really fought hard, and it was great for us to come out with a win. And for us, that's 4 out of 5. So we're coming into the finals with a little bit of form, and it's a real credit to our players, just their work rate and their persistence.
It was a bit of a dress rehearsal too, wasn't it, tonight? Finals atmosphere as well.
It has been for the last 3 weeks for us, Rick. They've all been must-win games, so I think that holds us in good stead. So we look forward to next week just with some positive attitude, the way we're going about it, and our players are starting to really dig in and do the right things.
And talking about some of the positive attitude, is Neil Craig, who wore the heart rate monitor tonight. You sit there with him every week. It got pretty high on occasion tonight. What's he like in the box?
Look, he's normally reasonably calm, but I'd say it would have spiked a few times tonight, particularly when there's a couple of turnovers, things like that happen, or easy misses a goal or turnovers. He gets a little bit anxious at those times, so I'll be looking forward to seeing those results. We'll have a bit of a talk to him about it.
Well, thanks for your time tonight, Hammer, and good luck for the finals.
Thanks very much.
No worries, mate.
I think Neil might be bragging, though. Didn't get too high, did it? He was Mr. Cool. The ladder, well, it really destroys some matches tomorrow. The St Kilda Brisbane situation. So Adelaide in, Collingwood to play either Sydney or Adelaide. And the big story tomorrow is the Eagles and Port Adelaide. Now, the dash for second spot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. But you were saying before that if Hawthorn win, we will be seeing another repeat of tonight's game next Friday night, and it'll be at the G.
Yep, so these teams now out. Can't make it. Saints miss out, along with Brisbane Dockers.
It's a shocking feeling for the Saints players and the Brisbane players, but it's one of those things, you win the games early and you don't have to rely on other teams losing towards the end of the season.
Well, the Saints had their chance, didn't they, last Friday night, and that was a bitter blow for them. Looking ahead to tomorrow, the V8 Extras from 1 o'clock, so Jamie Whincup on his rise through the ranks. The entrepreneurs extraordinaire, those Kelly brothers something, and then the birth of that Holden versus Ford rivalry. And then 1:30 after that.